Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Marilyn Darling Show. Today we're going to be looking at some dip nib things. So, for those of you who don't know, this is a dip nib. This is also a dip nib. This is a pen holder. This is a pen holder. They come in many different shapes, sizes, and usually on the inside of them they have what's called the ferrule. Looks like this. It is a piece of steel that has been bended in half and then curled into a bit, and then the inside bits are bent in so that way they can hold your nib. I hope that was visually. Anyway, sometimes they come with a little bit on the inside to catch on the inside of the pen so that way it doesn't fall out. They don't always come with a little bit like this, but sometimes they do. In which case, if you find that your ferrule is falling out of your pen, all you have to do is just take some tweezers, stick it in, and just give it a little push. You want to just ever so slightly bend it so that way it opens up just ever so slightly. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to put it in and push it in as far as it will go. And it should be sort of flush with the outside. Some are permanent. They don't come out. So once it's in there, and it's not going to come out. So some are fixed in place. But if you're finding that the little prongs are damaged, then that's probably the end life of your pen. That's just how it is. Some pens have a removable ferrule that's made of plastic. This one is made of plastic. And when you use it, it comes with a flange, a bent metal flange. The flange goes inside of the tiny hole, like so. And then this goes in the side of the pen like this. This can also be used as a straight nib holder by just taking the nib, making sure that your little slit is on the upside, wiggling it in, just a little bit. Shouldn't go all the way into the pen, should just go just a little bit, just enough to give it some strength, so when you kind of torque on it, that way it doesn't move. Because you don't want to, and also you want to give it a little pull to see if it'll pull out. And if it pulls out, push it farther in. Okay. I like the plastic ones. I prefer the plastic ones over the metal ones because you can dip them in ink and they won't get dirty. As you can see, this one is made of cork and it has a softer grip. However, if I dip it in to ink, it will get all over the end. And that is what happened with this one. This one is my wooden tip nib, and the acrylic that was surrounding the pen came off, or the water got underneath the acrylic, and the wood expanded and pushed off the acrylic. So that is also a thing that happens. But I find that actually it's better when it has this little bit of softness going on. I feel like, when you're putting in your nibs, also make sure that where the little split is, that you put it just on the inside of that. See the little spaces? We're going to put it just between those spaces there, and then push it in as far as it'll go. Some of them have a little divot right here where it stops it. Some do not. This one doesn't have a divot, but when you push it in, sometimes you'll have resistance. Crap. This is a brand new one, so hopefully this will go in smooth. So it'll go in smooth, and you'll find that there will be a smooth bit, and then there will be some resistance. That's where you want to stop and make sure you give it a good pull. Make sure it's not going to fall out. Okay. It shouldn't be more than a thumb's thickness, because you really don't need that much ink to be touching the pen. Some are flat, and they will only go in so far also. Some have this little bit, and some won't even go all the way up to the little bit. That's fine too. Some are bigger, and some are smaller, and some will only go in just a little tiny bit. Alexa, stop. So you gotta kind of play with it. Don't really press it in too hard, otherwise you'll break it. But just make sure that you have enough so that it doesn't wiggle in any direction. And then when you want to pull it out, just make sure that you don't want to use a tool. You don't want to have to be able to use a tool to get it out. You just want to put it in finger tight. Of course, if you can't get it out, then that you may need to use some tweezers or something. What else can I tell you about this setup that I have here? If you have one that has a little slit in the side, just put your flange in that little slit, and it will slide right up against that back area. And if you're having a problem taking your nib out of the flange, all you have to do is take it out, take the flange out, take your thumb, and you'll see right in here that you can pry this little bit open with your thumb. Use your finger, and you'll be able to pull it right out. Now, what if you have a nib and it's too loose? Then you're going to need some pliers. And you're going to want to bend this curvy bit in just a little bit, so that way it doesn't move. And a lot of people will find that when you're working with nibs, that your pen will you'll get to know your pen really well. I put my thumb on the back side of this, and sometimes the ink will come good, and sometimes it won't. And sometimes you'll need to bend the flange up this way just a little bit, or down just a little bit with a pair of pliers, depending on if your ink will stay in the nib or not. And your nib doesn't need to come out past the flange, past the end of the flange. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Don't touch the tips of the nib too much, because otherwise you'll get oil on it. I'm doing it right now, but I'm going to wash this. Now, the one really good thing about having oils on your hands and your nibs is when you're done using them for the day, you want to kind of I've been doing this for years. I have had this nib for almost 2 years now, and it is grungy and dirty, but it still writes like the day that I got it, because I've been rubbing my oils on the nib, and then right before I'm getting ready to use it, I will go to the sink and wash it with soap and water, and that way it doesn't rust. The nib is practically brand new, where the back of it is all rusted, you can see. And like the nib is probably on its way out, but it has just a little bit of thicker tip there. Where's a new one? There it is. Oh, these aren't even the same. Is this the same? No. I don't know what I did with the other one. I might have had to throw it away. But anyway, this little bit in the middle, that's called a breather hole. You want to ink it up just past the breather hole. All nibs have a breather hole. When you dip it in, you want to just dip it just past the breather hole. This one is a very long breather hole, but you want to just dip it in just past the breather hole. And then pull it up slowly, so that way you don't get a blob of ink that's on the nib, and then you move to the paper and the blob falls off. So, dip in slowly, hold it, and then pull up slowly, and then go over to your paper. Hi Kathy, how are you doing today? Are you having a nice day? I'm having a nice day, thank you. Oh, I don't need any nibs. I don't need any nibs. I have had this nib for 2 years, and I just recently bought a brand new nib. I've had this nib for about 1.5 years, and it seems to be doing just fine. So, I've had this nib for almost 3 years. One of the tines is broken, but it still writes really nice. I just got this nib. I don't like it. I think I sent Gary one of these nibs. It doesn't do what I thought it was going to do. Rather, it's not for fountain pen ink. This is a Hunt. Again, a Hunt 56. Hunt 56. And this is probably of the stiffest nibs you can find. The Zebra G is a fairly stiff nib. Still has a little bit of flex. The Hunt 101 has a lot of flex. The Hunt 22B has a little bit of flex. This is the Leonard Arrow, I think. This is the... Ooh, this one is so rusty, I should throw it away. 255C. No, 2552. Ooh, this is rusty. I've had this one for a really long time. But anyway, I hope that this has helped you in some way. If you have any questions about dip nibs, you can leave those in the comment section below, and I will try and answer them as best as I can. I'm not really fluent in dip nibs. I know how to use them. I'm not great at them. I much prefer my Waterman pens if I have to do any flexi writing. Anyway, that is all for today. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed that one. I hope that you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell. Make sure it's set to all so when I upload new content, YouTube notifies you. And I will be back very soon with another video. So take care until then. Okay, have a great day. Take it easy. See you later.